Hey Tableau users, so this is one more tutorial video that's helping with assignment 4, Tableau Prep. So if you look at question 9 in that assignment, that is going to have you do something that's a lot like this pivot that we did in the last video. So the example that we used were these daily yields for products 101 and 102 at the different plants. And we took it from this format into an equivalent but different shaped format over here. This one was called wide, and we took it to a long format. So we used the add pivot step in Tableau Prep right here. Add pivot. And so that's nice. Question 7c, however, asks you to go backwards. So to take this, something that's already in this long format, and convert it to a wide format. So take the column and spread it out into rows. And that, unfortunately, we can't use the same add pivot functionality in Prep. It's a little trickier. There's one intermediate step. So that's what this video is going to do, is help you figure out how to go from the long to the wide. And it turns out that there is an intermediate step that we need to do here, at least in the way that I'm going to show you. If you find a better way, let me know. I'd love to hear it. So what's the intermediate step? It's basically creating the new columns without getting rid of any rows yet. So this is kind of fun here. If you see it, I'm basically just sliding these two over into their own column. And kind of splitting out the columns. Then you can picture, so that's kind of stretching this thing from side to side. Then you can picture just squishing this one on the top and the bottom, and that's where I'll get this data set. I guess the plant ID is in the wrong order here for columns, but you get the idea. So I'm going to show you how to do this in Prep. Do this intermediate step, and then go to this final step here. And then you'll have both directions. So you already have going from wide to long. This one will be from going from long to wide, again, for question 7c on the assignment and for live. So I forgot to remove what I'd already done here. We're going to do this from scratch. This is called Prep Example Products Wide. This should be available on the Canvas page in which this video is embedded so that you can follow along. I just dragged it out here as a start. This should be the same as this table right here. So that's what we've got pulled in. And right now it's in the long format. And so the first one is I'm going to do that intermediate step where I slide the values out into their own columns. And to do that, I need to create columns. So for that, I'm going to create calculated field here. So I'm going to call this one just daily yield 101 for product 101. And here's the code I'm going to use. So if product ID is equal to 101, then do something, and the something that I want to do is just keep the value from daily yield. Else, so that this is a shortcut for saying if product ID is not 101, just put a 0 there. And I'm going to end. So let me copy this so that I can reuse it in the next field that I create. But calculation is valid. I'm going to hit save. And now I have this daily yield 101 column. Let's do the same thing with 102. Daily yield 102. The key thing here is I need to change a little bit of my code so that I pick up relevant values for 102 instead of 101. Hit save, and now I have something really similar to what I had in the intermediate step in Excel here. I have a column that just keeps the 101 values and just keeps the 102 values. While we're here, I'm just going to take care of a couple of things to keep the data nice and neat. Because I know where we're going and I don't need this daily yield column, I'm just going to get rid of that at this step. I also don't need the product ID column anymore. Why? Because the product ID information is now encoded just in the headings here. So I have 101 and 102. I'm not going to need these labels anymore. And in fact, they're not even going to make sense in the next one. So get rid of that. Okay. Next step is I just need to, as I said, kind of squish this from the top and the bottom, squish it down. And we already know the way to do that. We're going to do an aggregate step in order to do that. So come back here and take a look. Basically, I have duplicate product plant IDs. I just want to group all the information together by plant IDs and just have one row for each plant ID. So to do that, I'll pull the plant ID over to the grouped fields here. And then my aggregation is going to happen for daily yield 101, daily yield 102. Oh, but not date. Sorry. Daily yield 102 here. There we go. Oh shoot! And then the date should have been pulled over to group fields here. Let's okay. So 102. I was just hitting Control Z going back. There we go. All right. So date is a grouped field. 101 and 102 are the aggregated fields here. And now if you look if you kind of squinch these two columns and these two columns together, I have this right here, which is what I want. So if I were turning this in on an assignment, or even better, if I was using this for real data analysis, the last thing I would do is add an output step here, save it somewhere, and I'd be done. So now it shows the whole, what the table is going to look like all together. And that is going from long to wide.